Can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me? Sorry about that, guys. So I assume nothing was heard even at the very beginning. Sorry about that. The the little cable on the mic was like bent. Oh, the person making the joke saying, "Oh my God, it's back off," and joking.
Oh my God, you activated Siri on your other.
Just go take it away. All right, sorry for the sketchy introduction there. What I was gonna say is that this should be a really good one because I actually scheduled it the day before, so we got quite a lot of people in here already. Really appreciate that. If you're not here right now, meaning you're watching the replay, hit that bell so you can get notified next time, so you can be in here and ask your questions. As I was saying when you guys couldn't hear me, I was already appreciating all the comments coming in just as I was getting ready. Super awesome. Huge announcement. Have not mentioned this on YouTube yet. I did mention it in the Facebook group that I launched a podcast. It's with my friend Sam Feldman, and it's called Thoughts from Space Rock. It's awesome. It's the greatest. There's a link down there. I'd love for you guys to check it out, leave a review, let us know what you think, all of that. I know that I have teased in the past that I want to do like an interview style show, a like Tim Ferriss show, but my version of that. This is not that. That is probably still going to come, and I still do want to do that. But this is a really cool passion project. Sam is an incredible thinker, and we just get into these off podcasts. We would always just get into these 4-hour long crazy conversations, and we just decided, hey, let's put a microphone in between, and if people want to join in, I think that there's a lot of interesting stuff there, and we just wanted to capture it and put it out there. So it's really cool. Very, very different, but people are liking it, and we're just having a blast doing it. So we're going to keep doing it, and hopefully people like it as well. If not, oh well, we'll keep doing it regardless. But it's a lot of fun, and feels good to finally have a podcast out there because I've been talking about doing a podcast forever. So yeah, that's something new that I'm super excited about. Comment, get the podcasts on YouTube too. They're on a separate channel. Just type in on YouTube Thoughts from Space Rock. You'll find it. They are uploaded on YouTube, not in video form, but just audio as a video, if that makes sense. Like, it's just the cover art. We're not filming the conversations yet. Maybe we will. But if you do want to, if YouTube is your preferred platform to listen on, they are on a separate channel. Yeah, and it's on iTunes, it's on Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever podcasts are sold for free. So yeah, who else here listen to the podcast? I appreciate that. That's awesome. Let's see. All right, so if you're in here live, feel free to start throwing questions my way. I will be trying to pick out some good selections, maybe some stuff that we haven't talked about in the past, stuff that piques my interest. So if you're looking for basic ones, definitely don't forget that you can go back and watch all the previous live streams. There's like 26 hours of content already on YouTube of these live streams. So there's a lot of basic questions and stuff like that that's already been covered. I think it's a gold mine of information for you to go back and look through. I'll also say my most recent YouTube video before this one, it's a 40-minute talk I gave in Chicago. There's so much value in that video, and it's really interesting to me because the way YouTube works is the flashy, relatively short videos, those are the ones that have a chance of getting more views. This long, value-packed video seems to be getting less views so far, and it's interesting because it's actually like the highest value by far. So I would definitely recommend going and checking out that video. It's worthwhile, I would say. So, yeah. Anyways, getting into the chat now. I love listening to stuff like that when I run in the morning. Yeah, it will be awesome for that. Does creating a brand give you the ability to expand into highly competitive markets since you have an established customer base, credibility, product line, etc.? What you just said is basically my answer. That is one of the major perks that building a strong brand. It buys you the ability to actually go into more competitive landscapes, especially on your future products. So maybe you build your brand off products that are opportunities on their own, but now you have this presence, now you have this list, now you have this audience, now you can launch a more competitive product to that audience, and you will have an advantage that other competitors starting at that product from as their first product, those people won't have that advantage. So this way you're snowballing your momentum and buying yourself the opportunity to go off more aggressive products. Exactly. That's exactly the way I think about it. I think it's great. Is the podcast all Amazon related? No, not at all. The concept is really just for us, Sam and I, to explore thoughts, dive into anything that piques our interest, and just ultimately get to the bottom of the things. It's kind of like the why instead of the how. So we're just exploring, we're just thinking, and we're talking. And the reason for the name of Thoughts from Space Rock is we are floating on this big rock planet and we're just thinking. So that's kind of the concept of it. That makes it sound like it's very vague. I would say that there still is value in it, but it's not like a prescription type of podcast. It's us exploring and having interesting, hopefully thought-provoking conversations, but not forced, just us doing our thing. And I think people will like it, and at the very least we'll like it. Let's see. What do you think are the main skills new sellers should learn ASAP? Email campaigns, Facebook ads, etc. I think new sellers need to focus on identifying markets that are an opportunity and picking the right products to serve those markets. I honestly think that's where beginners need to start before getting into the more complicated stuff. Facebook ads very important, email marketing very important, but I think those come after getting into the right market with the right product. So I feel like for new sellers, they should start there. If you're already past that point, then I would say a combination of Facebook ads and email marketing, like use those together. Use Facebook ads, capture the email, use email marketing on the people you already captured, your past customers, all that type of stuff. Very high level skills to have, and then you can ties back into to product line and branding. Now you can serve that existing audience, your new products, replenish your old products, all different things like that. Have you ever gone into detail about why having your own warehouse didn't work out? Seems like you could save some Q4 storage charges. Yeah, I've mentioned this a little bit. I used to have a small warehouse. It was more of like an office that I used as a warehouse. Like it didn't have a gate for a true warehouse and all of that. It was pretty big. Like I could fit a lot of product in there. The reason, I wouldn't say it didn't work out. It was more like I got to a point where I could have the luxury of not having it because it was just a pain to have it. It worked. It was annoying to have to manage that and deal with that and all that kind of stuff. So to me, it was a major thing off of my mental burden when I got rid of that place. And the reason I did was because I was at a point where I was using freight forwarders I was transitioning to where I could go hands off to Amazon, meaning use freight forwarders, other people's warehouses, get it into Amazon, things like that. Way more streamlined. It wasn't a mistake, but it was a learning experience for sure. Like I would not advise you to need that in any way. So yeah. Let's see. What advice would you give yourself when you were starting? When you find something that works, I would not only double down on it, but I would triple, quadruple down on it. I would go as hard as you humanly can when something is working because it might change. And it's crazy, but like I really was in this game early on. At the time, it felt late. At the time, people thought it was too late and all the same stuff you hear now. But at the time, people were saying, don't get into these hard markets, blah, blah, blah. Don't get into this, don't get into that. And I think I could have made huge impacts in a lot of those markets that I got scared out of because people thought it was too saturated, but I knew what I was doing. It worked. And looking back, I could have done way more if I'd gone even more crazy aggressive. But I, of course, wouldn't have known that until I knew the outcome that came later. But yeah, looking back, that's what I think. Let me skip that. Let me get a little more current. Did you know what brand you were building from your very first product? So first of all, I have multiple brands. That first product did lead to my first brand, but my first brand is not my biggest brand. So you have to at some point you're not always gonna make the exact perfect decision first. And I didn't know as much as I knew more going into my second brand than my first brand, of course, things like that. So that said, I did think about product line before launching the first product, and that is something I still do myself today and I still teach today, is that when you're choosing that first product, you should be thinking about it in a product line. You shouldn't just be thinking about like, oh, here's a product opportunity, because maybe there's another equal opportunity, but maybe this opportunity leads to 5, 10 other products, whereas this one just stands alone, then I would obviously go with that one. So it's something you have to weigh into the equation from the very beginning. Do you think viewing your brand as a person is a good way to view the meaning of a brand? I was thinking about this recently after some questions and comments I saw, like, because we talk about the personality of a brand, we talk about building relationships with a brand, but to me it does seem a little bit different than a person. But there's a lot of things in common. Like, a brand might get in front of you with a Facebook ad and try to give you value. A friend might meet you and ultimately you come out better for meeting them. It's not like value in terms of like, download my PDF and we'll be friends. It's not like that, but there's a lot of the same principles, but I think it is different. Like, a brand has to have more of like a design, more of a mission, and more of a cohesive direction, whereas people and relationships are a little more loose, I think. I don't know if that's the right way of thinking about it, but I think there are elements of it that absolutely translate, but I think overall there are differences as well. Would you do anything differently if you were starting in Q4? I would say so I know where you're going at with this question, which is like, should I wait or whatever? What's the best time to launch? It's always best to launch as soon as possible. Now, the best place to be for Q4 is to be established by Q4, meaning it's always better to launch sooner. So say you had launched in the summer and then you were selling really well by Q4, now you're gonna have a big Q4 boost. If you're launching in Q4, you're not gonna get a huge boost in terms of if you were already established by then, but what you can do is go extra aggressive, because there's extra traffic, there's extra buyer intent, there's all these things happening in Q4 that you can kind of like boost your launch a little bit extra because everything's accelerated. You can almost think about it as having like 3 months in one. So there's a lot, you can definitely jumpstart it a little bit extra, seeing as there's more eyeballs, there's more buyer intent. So ride that out and then hopefully ride that momentum into the new year. What products would you flip in Q4? I used to flip, but my flipping had nothing to do with Q4. There was no holiday boost for that. It wasn't anything like that. Here's an interesting one. What would be your minimum profit to decide if a product is good after 30 days? Interesting, because I don't think 30 days is anywhere near long enough time to determine if it's profitable or not. I wouldn't even expect profits in the first 30 days. I mean, if I've had products that were not profitable in 30 days and now are some of my best ones. So 30 days is too short of a timetable to determine how profitable or not. Your first 30 days should be completely momentum driven and based on what's going to happen in the future, not trying to just maximize profits in your first month. What happened to the new brand that you said you will launch publicly? Is it still in process? Yes, slowly. I've been pulled in so many directions lately. I want that to become my main focus soon, hopefully. I would love that in another year, that when people think of me, they think of me, founder of this brand and has a YouTube channel, whatever else comes along with that. But I want that to be like my core thing. Hopefully by like a year from now, we'll see. But I haven't been able to put a huge amount of focus on it. I'm struggling to find the right name, which is stupid because for you guys, for private label, I would say pick something that's tight, fits the brand, all of that, and just do it. Whereas this one, I'm thinking of such a long-term trajectory. Like, I want this to be a brand that I'm building for maybe the rest of my life, who knows? and I just want it to be right. And I'm overthinking it a ton for sure. I'm trying to get something perfect. And beyond that, it's going to be super expensive for me to launch this brand, custom formulations, all kinds of stuff like that. It's just way more complicated. There's so much more going into it. What I'm basically doing with this new brand is not what I talk about here. It's not what I've done in the past, and it's not what I teach you guys to do for your first brand or for your first products on Amazon. I'm kind of going into a new territory that I would not recommend with this one. I'm taking much bigger risks, and I'm getting into stuff that's way more competitive, and I'm doing it completely differently. So as I move forward and I start talking about some of that stuff, I'll want you guys to be a little careful, because I'm going to be doing some things that are different than what I would necessarily recommend for just like the standard Amazon brand formula. This is going to be me trying to go, what's the next tier above that, and put way more on the line to do so. So it's a different model, but it is coming. It's going to take a long time. I'm thinking, excuse me, the first product's probably going to launch on Kickstarter. This is a ways out still. I mean, there's just so much to do, but I probably will do it on Kickstarter, leverage that into Amazon, as well as building out my own e-commerce presence at the same time from the beginning. So I anticipate this brand to be more multi-channel than any of my existing ones by day one, meaning it will be more diversified immediately than I've gotten my other brands to the point of now, if that made sense. So it is coming, but it's going to be a slow, complicated process, because it's not just like sourcing a general physical product the way I usually do. This is something kind of a whole new realm for me, and should be awesome to document it. But it'll be something that I'm passionate about. You guys know I'm into biohacking, health optimization, life optimization, all that stuff. It's going to be right there in that. So it's something that I'm going to personally love and use. It's kind of like the Tim Ferriss thing he would say of scratching your own itch, creating something that you want. That's the goal with this one. This is something that I want. This is something that I know people like me will want. I hope that a lot of you guys will think it's cool and try it out and stuff like that too. So it's just going to be cool. Should have got some water. Excuse me. But yeah, I'm excited for it. It's just going to be a long process. So keep on waiting. It's going to be some time. This might be opening a can of worms, but what are your thoughts on artificial intelligence, where it is currently and where it will be in the near long term? Interesting for sure. I would say to go listen to that Joe Rogan, Elon Musk podcast. That was the greatest thing to happen all year. I loved it so much. I would say he's way more qualified to talk about it than I am, but I definitely could understand and get my head around everything he was saying. And I would say that that's a pretty solid way of looking at it. Without sounding any dumber, I'm probably just going to leave it at that. But I love having those. I love thinking about that type of stuff. What equipment are you using for your live stream? You can see all my gear that I use for YouTube. It's at kit.com/Matt Loberstein. There's a link in the description below as well, because I get asked that quite frequently about what gear I use. So it's all down there in the description, all of my camera type of gear. When you say more aggressive, do you mean increasing PPC budget? I mean doing everything within PPC a little more, meaning you're bidding a little higher such that your ACOS might be a little worse. You're spending a little more than you might want. You're just going a little more to the edge. That doesn't mean wasting money, but it means like you're not dialing back. Like either you're pushing further or you're starting to dial back. And to me, dialing back on PPC is something you do in like a year. Or maybe, I mean, there's smart ways of going about it where you can refine strategically in certain areas sooner, which is smart. But by being aggressive, what I mean is to bid higher, to go more aggressively, hit more keywords, just like blast as much as you can. Think about it as a marketing tool more than a profitability thing. So you're trying to use it for momentum. You're trying to get more sales through keywords so that you can rank organically. What do you think about Amazing Selling Machine? Is it worth the money? I mean, I've never taken it, but I know that one is extremely expensive. I would say you don't need to spend that much on a course or a training program for Amazon. Plug for mine, Zero to Brand course. I think it's a great value. I think you should check that out. If you're considering spending 4 or 5 times that much, I would say check out Zero to Brand. I think that the value in that is much more than I'm selling it for. So, and there's tons of people that are getting huge results through that and transforming their businesses, starting new businesses, everything like that. I'll leave it at that. I usually don't talk about the course too much. I probably should more because a lot of people don't even know about it, but I do have a course that teaches all of this stuff, A to Z, from zero to brand, hence the name. So if that's something that you're looking for, if you want to learn it all through one trusted source, step by step, that is there for you guys. Hundreds of people in there already getting huge value from it, building businesses, all of that stuff. So I'd love to have you in there if you're on that path and you're looking for that kind of guidance. That's there for you. Whoa, deep question. What insecurity drives you to be successful? That's a tough one, and I would love to be vulnerable and open about it, but I don't even know if I know the answer. I'm still trying to get to the bottom of a lot of that stuff, but I think we all have stuff from our childhood or our parents or just environment around us type of things that make that ultimately shapes the way we act as adults. And I don't know though. I mean, I have all kinds of stuff from growing up, but I don't know if I haven't got my head around it to the level where I can articulate it in a way that creates a cohesive story. But yeah, the word insecurity right now reminds me, I'll give a book recommendation. Best book I've read all year, The Wisdom of Insecurity by Alan Watts. Highly recommend it. You should check it out. Are you a member of any mastermind groups? In terms of like in-person masterminds or like paid monthly things, I'm in a couple I'm in a couple of the paid monthly types of things. Relatively small ones, nothing like super high ticket, but not really what I would necessarily call a mastermind, though I should do more of that type of stuff in the future. But something I've noticed for me about getting involved in too many of these things is like sometimes it's just like more content than I even need, and then it's like I don't end up fully utilizing the things that I pay for, because so I wouldn't say to go join like this one and that one and this one and this one, because you're just like not going to be able to implement it all. It's like trying to read 50 books at once. So I would say like get into like, find somebody that you want to model and follow probably one path at a time optimally. How do you handle a 1-star or 2-star review that came because the customer didn't follow directions? There's not much you can do to get it removed, but what I would say is to try to reach out to the customer and do what you can to help them and to fix it. Leave a public comment on the review. You should do that on every negative review. You can tell them to get in touch with you through customer service. There are some ways to find out their order number so you can contact them directly. Don't try to get them to change their review directly. That will get you in a lot of trouble with Amazon. So you can't do that, but you can help them try to give them a great experience, and they may think to change it on their own. Overall, I would say get more positive reviews. Keep hustling forward on getting more sales and more good reviews and giving them great customer service. Customer service is I'm realizing this more and more as I articulate it, is that the way to get reviews is customer service more than anything. So, factor that in, but don't dwell too much on one negative review or something like that. Hopefully you can drown it out pretty soon. But leave that public comment, because customers that are prospecting your product to figure out if they want to buy it, they're going to look at the negative reviews. And when they look at the negative reviews, they're going to read what it says. And if it's something that it becomes clear that it's the customer's fault and not the product's fault, then you as the potential customer, you're going to be like, oh, well, that one's like not, I know that issue or whatever. I'm not going to have that same mistake. So that type of stuff will help a lot. If budget is limited, would you start with the same MOQ 500 to 1,000? There are no set criteria that work all the time, and there are none that also never work. So these things are all in flux and variables against each other. Can you start with less than 500 units? I'm sure it's possible, but look, maybe you have lower units, higher price. Those things are in balance. Maybe you have stuff like that. And as far as budget goes, the other thing that plays in here is what's the lead time for the product. You're going to need to find a product that you can get it quicker. You can replenish quicker, meaning it's shorter to manufacture and to produce, and it's shorter to get it to you, meaning air shipping. Because think about it, if your product takes 45 days to manufacture, and then it has to be shipped by sea, which is going to take 35 days. Now you have to prospect out your inventory way longer. If this is a product that you can get into cheaply and you can replenish really quick, you might only need to have a few weeks of inventory instead of a few months of inventory. It's possible, but it's harder. It's hard to find those opportunities because everybody with a low budget to start this business is looking for those types of opportunities. Where I find the most opportunities is the stuff that requires a little bit more investment. It takes a little bit more to get into. Like there's maybe it's a $9,000 investment and it has to ship by sea. That's where you're seeing the wild opportunities. When you're trying to get in for $1,500 and order 250 units, that is when you have a sea of competitors a week after you launch. So that type of stuff is trickier. One sec, I lost the chat on my phone. What's going on here? All right, jumping down to the new part of the chat. So if I missed your question, just ask again. As always, Danny Cash says, tell them where I am after buying your course. By the way, another killer sales day today. Yeah, Danny is absolutely crushing it after taking Zero to Brand. I am seriously pumped for his business. I want to get involved in that business with you somehow. That one, you're going to absolutely crush. The numbers, you're like, what is it, 7 days into launching and you've already done $18,000 in sales? Correct me if I'm wrong, Danny. I don't have the screenshot in front of me, but yeah, you'll be hearing more about Danny, guys, because it's super, super cool. I'm really pumped about it. But yeah, that's one example of somebody that is doing super well after kind of following my my blueprint. Matt, don't get sidetracked with non-Amazon related questions. Sorry, I mean, I like to just talk about what piques my interest. I don't want to just, I mean, it's mostly Amazon, but this is me. I'd like to talk about questions I always like to try to keep it a little bit mixed. I don't want to just be like, here's 550 Amazon tips and see ya. Yeah. Buy Matt's course, worth every penny. Zero to Brand is the way. Thanks, Matt. I'll check it out. Let's see. Oh, I was off. It's 13,000 in 2 weeks or so, 17 days. Still, that's a crazy ramp up. I'm sure you'll be at, I think I said 18,000. What did I say? But you'll be there in no time. What I'm really excited about is using, the way I think about this is, where are you going to be in a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months? I mean, you know, I'm not about the short term. That's insane for the short term. And that's a good example of when you hit something right, it can just absolutely take fire. But even in that situation, I'm thinking about building that strong foundation, just blasting it so I can just get up to the top. And then you're going to be doing 75K a month soon. $4,000 in the last 2 days. That's amazing. That's you're practically on $1 million run rate already. Actually, 4,000. So that's 60,000 a month at that pace. That's 720,000 a year. So yeah, you're well on your way upwards of a 7-figure business, and you're only 17 days into it. Pretty wild. Let's see. Launching my first product very soon. I've taken a few courses, but one question before I place the order. How can I launch a product that'll have a sea of competition by 9/21? I'm not sure I understand that question. Sorry, Emilio. What are your top 3 marketing tips pre-launch and after? It's always hard for me to do here's only the 3. So I don't know if this will be exactly 3 and 3, or maybe I'll just give some random tips, but I would say pre-launch, I think of everything as part of marketing in a weird way. So to me, the first that comes to mind is your listing optimization and copywriting. That is a huge marketing tool that you need to have dialed in pre-launch. This even involves the product you chose and the way you positioned it and all of that. Pre-launch, I would say to have your email sequences and all of that built pre-launch. And 3, I would say any way of collecting interest for the months leading up to the launch, meaning this could be an email list, this could be Instagram, this could be a Facebook group, this could be any number of things, but can you collect potential people somewhere and then offer them your product when it becomes available? Give them value, bring them into your brand before you even have a product to sell. That would be number 1. Or for pre. For after, I would say number 1 is PPC. You have to have a huge PPC component to your marketing strategy on Amazon. That's just absolutely 100% required. You cannot not do PPC. You seriously have to do that. So go deep on that, learn that. PPC is going to be huge. Another marketing tip I would say is to come up with a Amazon to not Amazon strategy. And that doesn't even mean taking your customers off of Amazon, but that means collecting your customers somewhere else. So this means this is a combination of insert cards and Facebook retargeting for your Amazon customers. Third tip I'll say is rather than going from Amazon to Facebook, I'll say let's go Facebook to Amazon and try getting more new cold traffic from sources like Facebook ads to Amazon to feed the Amazon algorithm, get them to buy on Amazon, recapture them, all of that. Is this Danny's first product? Yep, he just launched 2,700 a day for $1 million. Yep, that's right. Hey Matt, what do you recommend when starting a YouTube channel? I would say have the best. I mean, I think what worked for me is that I came into a space where there was a lot of people throwing up a lot of stuff, and I had been doing this for a long time and had some legitimate ways of thinking about it and I had numbers to show that really helped me skyrocket from the beginning. Not skyrocket, I wouldn't say I've skyrocketed, but that helped me. I would say the core thing is you have to be transparent and authentic. That is just such a requirement in today's business artistic landscape. Is you have to be yourself. You have to just connect with your audience and be there for them, be there for yourself, just be you. Like the ones that I see never catching off are the people that are way too structured. Like they're almost thinking about it in the way of like when we used to watch TV and radio shows and it was like a personality acting a certain way. To me, I think it's all about authenticity, because when you see real authenticity come through on the internet, basically, it could be Instagram, it could be YouTube, it catches our attention in such a way because it's just a more human interaction. So I would say that's huge. Just documenting your process, being honest, and chunking it into videos in such a way that there's a hook. So you can't just be like, day one documentation. You have to figure out a way. This is like copywriting. This is like selling. It's practice for you as a business person too, even though you're not necessarily looking at it as a business. But figuring out how you can sell your product of a video and position that product in a way that gets people's attention. It's a lot like launching Amazon products in a weird way. How did you decide on your podcast name? I think I mentioned that a little bit earlier on, actually. Yeah. As I said, I'm still planning on doing like a interview style show. Let me know what you think I should name. Should it be like the Matt Loberstein Show, Matt Loberstein Podcast? I'm not really sure, but that one will be different to name. This one is because it's me and Sam, and we're just thinking. We're just trying to get to the bottom of things, trying to think well together, trying to explore and figure out what's going on here, right? And it just seemed like a fitting name, like a little bit absurd, a little bit funny, but a little serious as well. Like it's just thoughts from Earth, basically. Space rock being a funny way of us naming Earth. The way we came up with it was we were just like driving back from a trip and we were just coming up with a list of all these ideas, and we had like 20 or so of them. Some of them were hilarious. I think we actually read some of them in episode 4. It's not out yet, but there were some really funny names, but I felt like this was the right name, the right balance of, we felt like it was the right balance of a little bit funny and weird, but also like fitting. So we think it's pretty cool. I'm curious what you guys think, but yeah, totally just totally a passion project. A lot of fun. Thanks, Matt, for all you do. You are the best. I appreciate that, Elizabeth. It means a lot. Let's see. Oh, guys, I forgot to say, please, if you're here live, please hit the thumbs up. It won't hurt. It won't notify your mom. It won't do anything embarrassing. Just hit the thumbs up. It really makes a huge difference. It's going to help this video get boosted out to other people, ultimately just build our community stronger. So I would really appreciate it if you can hit the thumbs up on this video and on every video that you watch of mine. It really does make a big impact. So please do that right now if you're in here live. If you're watching the replay too, hit it. It still makes a difference even if it's much in the future. So always highly appreciate that on my videos. I always forget. I always feel weird asking, but it's just the way the YouTube algorithm works is the more engagement, comments, likes, stuff like that the video gets, the more chance the video has to be shown to more people, therefore impacting more people, therefore building our community bigger. So yeah, please do. Much appreciate that on every single time you do it. What diet do you follow? A mix of paleo and ketogenic. The problem with keto is that there are a lot of unhealthy ways to do keto, meaning you could be eating the shittiest fats, the shittiest meats, all kinds of stuff like that. That's not right. Paleo is cool too, but I basically do like a cyclic keto, meaning in and out of keto, but clean paleo keto style diet. Kind of like Bulletproof Diet, they have their own that they call the Bulletproof Diet. That's probably the closest to what I do, for sure. Highly recommend trying that out. I'll be coming out to LA in about a month. Do you have any suggestions on some of the main things I should try to do while I'm out there? To be honest, like so many people in LA, they stay in their own little neighborhoods and stuff. I'm like, and I didn't grow up here, so I'm probably not even the best to tell you like all the crazy spots around all of LA. For me, I love the west side, you know, Santa Monica down to here, all the way up to Malibu too. Like, you know, check out all the beach side and all that if you want. There's all the touristy things, you know, Hollywood, all that area, Griffith, Hollywood sign. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a few of them. I appreciate the value you're giving anyone. Are all the variations included in the revenue figure that Jungle Scout shows in the Chrome extension? That's a really good question with a fairly complex answer, and it's that it varies based on category. So the way you can figure out if that's happening for the listing you're looking at is by clicking on each of the variations and looking if the BSR is different for each of the variations. If it's the same for all of the variations, then that means that BSR and revenue estimate is for the whole thing. If you click on, if let's say it's in kitchen, and let's say there's 3 variations, and the BSRs are 3,000, 30,000, and 300,000, meaning one's selling really well, one's selling a little, and one's not selling. Now, those are being ranked differently, so you'd have to run it and look and see each one. But yeah, it varies by category. What are your future life goals? Any crazy goals like buying the Jets or Cleveland Indians? That's Gary Vee and Ryan Moran. No, I don't have a crazy goal like that. I think it's cool for the story, but I really don't. And if I did, it definitely would not be to buy a sports team. What the hell? I think that's a weird goal. Nah. But, you know, I just want to do the best I can and impact. And I think I would like to build my personal brand platform and my wealth to a point where I can deploy it into things that I think are meaningful and I want to see in the world. I want to create. I want to see this change, you know, whether that's business, whether that's, you know, causes, but just getting into a place of a place of influence, a place of impact. And I'm still figuring it out, you know. Something about me, and this is something that we've been talking about a lot on the TFSR podcast, is I just take issue with people that have it like exactly figured out. Like they're like, I'm gonna do this one mission forever, and to me it's just like life is too wavy. We're always changing. I'm always changing. I'm way different now than I was 3 years ago, 6 years ago, 12 years ago. I'll be different in 4 years from now. Like, I just don't want to commit to any exact thing. I'd rather just be moving forward and have the freedom to like change direction a little bit, but be building more power in whatever direction I want to point it. That's a weird way of looking at it, but I don't have like an end goal. I don't know. I really don't. Still figuring that out. Or just will continue to just be trying to optimize for the present. If you have the funding, what is the optimum pacing in terms of launching products? For example, is it launching a new product once a month? I probably would not. Yeah, I would say like one a month max, probably, even if you have a huge budget. It's just hard to deploy enough energy to enough of those. Like, you don't want to launch so many that you can't give them attention. So I've had periods of one a month. Really, it's more like 0 for a while, and then 5 might launch at once, which may or may not be the best way of doing it. But I've had the whole variation of this I've had happen over the course of my business. Is it possible to launch a phone accessories brand? Sure, it's possible, but I would say that's a very tricky one. I would say that's a highly saturated, one of the first places that people typically look. So I'd be careful. It's possible, but I'd probably look elsewhere unless you have a very unique angle to bring to phone accessories. You have a way of getting in that's going to stand out and be different. And if you think it's an opportunity, I'm sure there are people that are going to launch successful phone accessories brands from now forward. But it's one that seems tough from the outside looking in, for sure. I used to do that actually years ago, before Amazon, really. Well, not before Amazon, but before I was serious about Amazon. So even back then, phone accessories, it's what the seller, like Shenzhen in China, there's such a such an ecosystem of electronics and cheap electronics and all that type of stuff, and a lot of them are selling directly at razor thin margins, and it's just a tough business. Where are you from originally? Northern California. Thanks for clearing that up, Matt. Very helpful. This is super helpful. Thank you. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. We are changing by the minute. Yeah, I totally agree. Completely agree. What is your daily work schedule? Would it be different if you did not have help? This is something I actually just posted on my story on Instagram about this. I just did like a Q&A. It's actually going on throughout today. So follow me on Instagram if you're not. I did one of those like question things, and one of them was about being effective with your time and things like that. And what I said was that so many entrepreneurs want to put out this image that they are effective 24/7. I think it's bullshit. I think there's a few superhuman people out there, but most successful people that I know, they have plenty of time off. They have times of work, they have times of relaxation, they have times where they can't get anything done. They just and I'm very like that. I mean, I'm not on it 24/7 by any stretch. This time management and organization and delegation are my main areas that I personally need to improve as I grow as an entrepreneur. So I don't have those figured out. But some days I don't work at all. I never really work early. I usually try to have a very chill, enjoyable morning routine, and then maybe a few focused hours of work midday. Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to even say how much I work because a lot of it blends together, but I'm trying to get more organized, write more things down, schedule more things on the calendar, stick to a schedule where I actually do get work done every day. Because to be completely honest, for over the past year and a half, like there's been probably more days where I did nothing than days that I actually worked more than 2 hours. Like I had a long period of like not having a lot of focused work. So I'm trying to segment my days and knock out these important tasks and actually get the stuff done. Even with like YouTube, like I'm struggling to just like get myself to film X number of videos per week and stuff like that. So I am still figuring that out. If you have tips for me, I appreciate it. Hopefully there's some little bit of a tip in there for some of you as well, but I'm still figuring that out. I've been watching the Jungle Scout case study. They have general guidelines they follow for shipping prices for guessing. Do you follow a basic dollar per kg ratio when calculating initial costs? I don't even know it based off of that. I usually just, I guess I have a general sort of rough estimate in my head just from doing it a bunch of times. But for me, it's just getting quotes and, going off, starting from there. Just like start with your supplier, just get a rough quote just to get a general idea. Where's your girlfriend? Ask for a glass of water. I'm good. Yeah, I got to start like setting it out during the lives. Ooh, I got a $5 question. The paid question I just got. Thank you, Priscilla. Would you close down the listing if you run out of stock? Amazon received the inventory but won't be available for another 8 days. So I'll give you two answers since you gave me $5. Because there's kind of two questions hidden there. I'll start with the second part, which is Amazon received the inventory but won't be available for another 8 days. For me, as soon as it says in stock on X date, to me, I think of that as in stock. I would start, like, you're in stock on that date. Like, some people might disagree, your conversion is going to be a little off, but I just like get going on that date. People will buy, even though it's a little delayed. So to me, that means you're in stock, though there's probably some strategies where you would close it and then do your official launch later. But like, to me, it's just like, let's get it going once it's ready to go. To me, that's the day it's ready to go. Now, if you are truly out of stock, there is a strategy where you can close the listing, which preserves some rank. Personally, I don't use it a lot because I'm always a little nervous too, because I'm always wondering, am I going to mess up my ranks? Am I going to mess up reviews? Things like that. But it is a strategy some people use. For me, I just try to mostly minimize the amount of time I'm out of stock, of course. And when you get back in stock, you have to go, again, more aggressive with PPC. Think about it as a little mini launch and boost it to get the momentum going again. Don't just try to optimize and hone back for that first week or so. Go aggressive, get your momentum back, and you'll be good. It's mainly an issue when you're out of stock for long periods of time. How do you get brand registered? You need to have a official trademark finished, not just in process, and you need a website, and then you just apply. It's very easy. What would you say is the biggest block from selling international? Law, cash flow, setup time, energy? Yeah, I would say it's the setup and the legal stuff and the logistics too. Like just figuring out where to get it there, all the VAT, all the stuff that goes along with that. Yeah, I think that's pretty convoluted. But yeah. Did you work 2 hours a day when you first started? No, good question. I used to not know what day of the week it was. I mean, like 4 years ago or so, I was just trying to do everything I possibly could to make stuff work because I had to. It was only once I got into a period of it consistently going really well that I got lazy, which is normal. I'm not beating myself up for that. It makes sense. I kind of earned myself the ability to enjoy some of the rewards of the work I had put in the past, which is the whole point of being an entrepreneur. Is you're trying to put in work up front that creates something that pays you continuously and can scale beyond your time. So it's just been practicing that to some extent. What time tracker do I use for online jobs? How much does it cost? I personally don't use a time tracker. I just trust, I haven't. Why do you think it is that so many entrepreneurs that are doing crazy numbers don't live out of the passive income? Do you think we will ever stop working? Are we slaves that need to work? I think that there's something innately human about producing and working and creativity and purpose. So I think this is why billionaires continue to launch even bigger ambitions. I don't think I ever want to stop working. To me, that's just like, hopefully your work should be in flow. It should be enjoyable. It should be something you like doing and you're passionate about. So I'm trying to get to a place of that more than a place of not working. I'm trying to get to a place where I love my work and I want to do it and it doesn't feel like work. So yeah, I don't think that the goal should be to not work because I think that you'll end up bored. Yeah. I'm having trouble getting reviews. I have 4 reviews and I got all of them through Instagram. I've been selling for 5 months and I only have 4 reviews. Any suggestions? How many sales? Is your email sequence working? Are you reaching out to people that leave feedback? Are you asking when people have customer service interactions with you? It sounds like you just need to get way more sales and way more interactions with customers so you have more chances for the review. LA, every 2 minutes a Lambo goes by outside. You guys can hear that? You hear the, yeah, I figure the microphone picks that up a little bit. How long were you selling before Amazon Lending offered you a loan? I think it was a little over a year, maybe a year and a half, somewhere in there. Guys, I think I'm gonna wrap up there. We're at a little under an hour, but if you're here live, please hit that like button. It makes a huge difference. If you're watching the replay, hit the like button and hit the bell so you can be in here next time. What else? Yeah, check out the links below. There's the podcast, there's the training, there is my camera stuff. There's all kinds of stuff down there. So check out those things. The Facebook group, you can get in there, keep the conversation going. That's the best place to get questions answered from the community, including myself. So get in there if you're not yet. No reason not to. That's free, all of that. So yeah, really appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate the community. I'm happy that we can do this. So hit that bell so you can be in the next one, and I'll see you in the next video.